knowledge or truth is the truth related to knowledge? Can the pathway to knowledge lead to the truth? Do you need a short answer? Well, the answer is no. Let us justify this no. Physicist Nassim Haramein says, "Our universe, although externally finite, internally is divided into infinite subdivisions that unfold into infinity." This creates two images for us. One, the image of the finite universe we look at from the outside, and two, the image of its infinite subdivisions as we plunge into its details. But the devil resides in the detail. From here on starts the basic separation between truth and knowledge. The truth conceives of the universe as an oval finite state and gazes at the outside great world, the world outside Plato's cave. Knowledge, on the other hand, sinks within the finite universe, analyzing the infinite microviews of the infinite subdivisions of its details. This is the world of delusion. All, therefore, that is found on earth are not real, but only imitations of the truth, and yet not all of them, but only a few. The rest is lies and delusion and conjectures constructed like the pictures of imagination. But let's see what the word truth means. Truth means remembrance. The word truth, in Greek aletheia, consists of the privative prefix alpha that declares negation, and the noun lethe, which means forgetfulness, memory loss, when something eludes me. So the word truth, in Greek aletheia, means the absence of forgetfulness or remembrance. And besides, said Keves, intervening, Socrates, if it is true that learning is nothing other than anamnesis, remembrance, then, from that point of view, it is necessary for us, somewhere in the past, to have learned that which we now remember. But this would be impossible if our soul hadn't existed somewhere else before assuming this human form. And Antonios Hallas, in his book The Underlying Mystery in the Hellenic Alphabet and the Universe, or About Science, writes regarding the meaning of the word truth. There was a time in that distant past during which we were in contact with the world of ideas, the non-specific, the invisible. Our soul knows everything. It is imperative, though, for someone to extract the infinite knowledge deposited in oblivion. When the eye of the soul sees without the mist and the cloud, without oblivion, forgetfulness, then it has light in front of it. This condition of the soul is called, in Greek, aletheia, no forgetfulness. This is the mystical meaning of the profound word. But what must be remembered? The former state of our existence, before we were trapped within this matrix, this finite universe egg. And how can we reach this remembrance, aletheia, throwing away the veil of our oblivion? The path lies inside ourselves and not outside, and it is called self-knowledge, γνώθη σε αυτόν, know thyself. So, we have to choose between two paths. One leads to our self-knowledge, to the truth, and to life, and the other leads to the knowledge of the infinite subdivisions of this world and to death. After those days of the fall, the eternal knowledge of the God of truth withdrew from me and your mother Eve. Since that time, we've been learning about dead, dying things, like men. It was that time when celestial man tasted the forbidden fruit of the dyadic, twofold knowledge of good and evil, abandoning the worlds of truth. Truth is the remembrance of the living. Knowledge is the research of the dead. This is why an anchorite, a person who lives in seclusion for religious purposes and delves into his self-awareness, has more chances of finding the truth than a scholar who is drowned in his books, researching and investigating this world in its infinite detail. Our whole universe, visible and invisible, including the anti-material and the parallel universes, is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, in which celestial man was trapped. What kind of trap was man caught in? In the exploration of the infinite views of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So, man, instead of realizing the one truth about the nature of the universe and about how he was trapped in it, he sank, is sinking, and will be sinking perpetually into the knowledge of its infinite, endless subdivisions and details. Enchanted and hooked into the perpetual trap of the dyadic, twofold energy and matter, unaware of the reality that surrounds him, he tastes the double fruits of knowledge, choosing and rejecting one or the other, fighting for what he thinks is the best, in an endless quest, praising the creator of this dyadic world. But the remembrance of man's entrapment is a completely different process from the endless exhaustion of gathering materialistic knowledge through the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for all the things that die in it. So, if we want to represent these two concepts with symbols, the truth and knowledge, we will find that each one displays the inverted symbol of the other. This means that each concept is the direct opposite of the other. Let's analyze the two symbols separately. The symbol of truth depicts the unification of the two divided parts of the very same man. Man's spiritual female expression, Eve, the I Am presence, or higher self, that is never incarnated, unites with the incarnated, as a man or a woman, divine spark, Adam. After this holy matrimony, unification, the remembrance, aletheia, is born. The road passes through the paths of self-knowledge with the control of the inferior, lower self and the ego. When the control of the lower nature of man is completed, the union of the two segments of the very same man brings forth remembrance and the truth as a result. The Tibetan Book of the Dead quite descriptively refers to the two attributes of the spiritual man and the union of these two parts of the very same man. The pure emptiness, female Buddha, Eve, and the vibrating bright spirit, male Buddha, Adam. Now the clear luminance of Dharmata shines in front of you. Recognize it. This moment, the state of your spirit is pure essence by its nature. It has no property, no hypostasis, no form, no color, but it is pure emptiness. This is the emptiness, the female Buddha, Samantabhadri, Eve, I Am presence. But this state of your spirit is not simply barren emptiness. It is unhindered, transparent, pure, and vibrating. This vibrating spirit is the male Buddha, Samantabhadri, divine spark, Adam. These two, the spirit whose nature is emptiness, female, I Am presence, Eve, without any hypostasis, and the spirit which is vibrating and luminous, male, divine spark, Adam, are undivided. This is Buddha's Dharmakaya. Your very spirit itself is the emptiness and luminance, undivided as well, in the form of a great mass of light, and in this state it is no longer subdued to birth or death. In different words, we find the same in the Gospel of Thomas from the texts of Nag Hammadi. When you make the two into one, when you make the inner divine spark like the outer I am presence, higher self, and the high like the low, when you make male, divine spark, and female, I am presence, higher self, into a single one, so that the male is not male, and the female is not female, when you have eyes in your eyes, a hand in your hand, a foot in your foot, and an icon in your icon, then you will enter into the kingdom. The symbol of the holy matrimony declares that the vicious circle of information and misinformation is closed, with the I am presence enclosing and guarding the divine spark, providing him exclusively with the truth, aletheia, remembrance. These are the realms of the truth. But the path of knowledge of good and evil is opposed to the path of truth and self-knowledge. When someone concentrates on the quest for knowledge, he focuses on the details of this world and sinks into the infinite ocean of alternative versions, views, and their infinite subdivisions. The reverse symbol of the truth is the mirror image symbol of knowledge, of good and evil. This mystical symbol is very widespread in our world. Everyone knows the hand gesture that symbolizes the devil. However, few know where this gesture comes from. This symbolism has its roots in the ancient Egyptian religion. In particular, goddess Isis was depicted with horns, among which there was a disc. This disc represented knowledge. That's why Plutarch interpreted Isis' name as knowledge. This is the sacred canister that the horns form, that is at the top of the head of the initiate, ready to receive and be filled with the universal wisdom. That is why the initiates of this world are often depicted with horns. There lies also a part of the truth behind the reason of worship of bulls and sacred cows that were dominant figures of several religions for many millennia. But with horns, we also find Lucifer, the ruler of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Another symbolism of exactly the same concept is the symbol of the Holy Grail. It was only natural that they would use something so closely connected to Christ in an extra effort to distort his teachings so that he would become one and the same with the knowledge of this world. The quest for the Holy Grail, which in reality has no connection to the teachings of Christ, symbolizes the path to wisdom, the devious wisdom of this world. The soul went upwards and arrived at the fourth atmosphere stage, which had 7 manifestations, forms, the 7 demons of the soul. The first manifestation is darkness. The second one is desire. The third is ignorance. The fourth is deadly jealousy. The fifth one is carnal inebriation or lust. The sixth is intoxicating wisdom. And the seventh is devious wisdom. These are the 7 expressions of wrath, which oppress the soul with questions like, "Whence do you come from, manslayer? Where are you going, you wanderer?" When the mystic, after an arduous search for occult knowledge, finds the Holy Grail, then he is ready to accept the universal, devious, and intoxicating wisdom of this world. This is the wisdom of the snake, which through the Kundalini activates the 6th sense and the 3rd eye. So the powerful of this world made the crown their emblem, which is a variant of the same symbol. So let's clarify the differences by concluding. The one and only truth is the overall image of the finite universe when we look at it from the outside. The seeker of the truth focuses on the external walls of the universe egg and struggles to break them and get out. The seeker of knowledge is consumed by the infinite subdivisions and details of the versions and the views within the egg universe, fascinated by the endless hunt of information and misinformation, its micro-truths and lies.